Hello agents, and welcome to another daily episode of Targeted Loot Today, your daily farming guide for Saturday, February 13th. In this series, I cover a large scope of useful info for you guys, like the Targeted Loot map, Dark Zone exclusives, highlights from the weekly vendor resets, and build and farming suggestions. This is Shadow Gaming, and if you're new to the channel and enjoyed this video, consider pressing the thumbs up and subscribe buttons below, and if you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And always remember to hit those bell notifications to all so you never miss a daily morning video, and comment below if you have any questions or feedback whatsoever. Otherwise, let's get this video started. Alright agents, starting off in the Dark Zones and of course vendor reset highlights, which are in that big bottom left overlay. I definitely still recommend getting the Orbit with Perfect Finisher in DZ South and the Carnage over at the DZ East vendor. Over here at DZ West, we got MMRs as targeted loot. Now, the only Dark Zone exclusive marksman rifle is the Pinprick with Perfect First Blood, I believe it's called. And it's actually a pretty good MMR if you want to guys, grab it up or whatever. Otherwise, you could still farm for the Mantis or the Nemesis if you've already unlocked it. But that's about it for the marksman rifles in DZ West. Now over in DZ South, we do have light machine guns as targeted loot, and there's two exotic LMGs, right? So you got the Bullet King and the Pestilence, both of which you can farm in the Dark Zone. But of course, the Pestilence has this really high drop rate chance in the DZ South area, it's LMG targeted loot. So I highly recommend farming for the Pestilence here today if you need to grab it. Otherwise, there is a Dark Zone exclusive LMG you could farm for, and that is the Black Friday with Perfect Unhinged. It's actually a really good light machine gun. I definitely recommend grabbing it as well. And then of course we got Hardwired in DZ East. I do not recommend farming this in the DZ, so let's go check out the invaded missions first and then the north side. Alright agents, north side targeted loot highlights and invaded missions. Starting off with the invaded, we got Bank HQ, and then of course Federal Emergency Bunker and Potomac Event Center, and then Manning National Zoo, and then Tidal Basin Stronghold. For Northside targeted loot, we got Overlord at Camp White Oak. My first recommendation is the Fox's Prayer knee pads with 8% damage to targets out of cover. And that is multiplicative damage, the best type of damage in this game. And you could run this with or without a rifle build. It's great on any DPS build. Next up, China Light over at the ballpark. Definitely get a chest piece with glass cannon for that hardwired build that I always mention, or any other explosive skill damage build that you're going to be running. For pistol targeted loot, keep in mind that the Orbit with Perfect Finisher is a Dark Zone exclusive, same with the TDI card custom pistol with the +1 skill tier. But you can remember get the Orbit with Perfect Finisher in the DZ South vendor for 152 DZ resources. And last but not least, we got Walker Harrison Co. at Manning National Zoo. You can farm the Chain Killer chest piece with Perfect Headhunter, and that is going to give you 150% of your last killing blow, so that's going to get you about 20 million a headshot with the Mantis. And then of course, Kenley College is open for another 2 days and 22 hours as of this recording, and the summit you pick your own target to lose. So let's go check out the west and east sides of DC now. Alright guys, so starting off with the west side targeted loot highlights, gear sets first, we got Aces and Eights at Roosevelt Island. I always recommend running 3 pieces of Aces and Eights and then 2 pieces of Geraldo Holding, one being a backpack with Vigilance or Composure. And then of course the Chain Killer chest piece with Perfect Headhunter, and I always run the Mantis as my primary and Ekim's Long Stick with Perfect Ranger or the White Death as my secondary. And then of course we got Foundry Bulwark at Lincoln Memorial today. Great day to farm for Foundry if you need it, but the chest and backpack are Iron Horse raid exclusive on normal difficulty. Otherwise, I recommend running the Emperor's Guard knee pads with 1% armor regen, and then some Bellstone Armory for extra armor regen. And then we got Close Protocol at West Potomac Park. I'll put my favorite fire damage build in the top title card now. That is 4 pieces of a Close Protocol in the Imperial Dynasty holster, and then 1 piece of Golan gear for that extra 10% status effects. You're going to run that with the Fire Starter Chem Launcher and the Stinger Hive. Then we got Tip of the Spear at Tidal Basin. It's good for like instantly stripping off armor, like in legendaries and niche content, and increasing specialization weapon damage, especially the crossbow from Survivalist. Otherwise, I really don't recommend it. And last but not least, Strikers at DCD. I only ever recommend running 3 pieces, never any more than that, and that's for rate of fire and weapon handling if you're trying to calm down the Merciless or an LMG. For normal targeted loot, we got backpacks at DARPA Research Lab, so you can farm the Memento backpack with kill confirmed and the Acosta's go bag with one in the hand. Those are the 2 exotic backpacks you can farm for in this game. Neither of them are quest exotics, you just have to farm backpack targeted loot, and I highly recommend the Memento for sure, that one's really good. Next up, knee pads at Constitutional Hall, you can farm the 2 exotics, Sawyer's and the Ninja Bike, and both of them are completely opposite basically. So with Ninja Bike, you know, it's run and gun builds, like up close and personal ones where you can vault and do cover to cover while you're running, and then that gives you 25% bonus armor and instantly reload your equipped weapon. And then for Sawyer's, you just sit still and it goes up 1% weapon damage up to 30% weapon damage, and as soon as you even flinch, it starts going down. And then next up, we got shotguns at Foggy Bottom. So you got the Scorpio with Septic Shock and the Sweet Dreams with the Sandman talent, both of which I definitely recommend farming for, especially the Scorpio. The Scorpio is just great for every build, tank, DPS, skill builds. I mean, it stun locks enemies, poison, confuse, shock, 20% damage debuff. Now, if you are going to use the Sweet Dreams exotic shotgun with the Sandman talent, I would use it on a skill build. And that would be, of course, for that melee one-hit kill for any red or purple barred enemy. And the cooldown's only 15 seconds, so it's pretty good for, you know, rushers or a skill build user. In the last few, we got Douglas and Harding at Federal Emergency Bunker. You could farm the Punch Drunk Mask with 20% headshot damage baked into it. Perfect for an all high-end headshot damage build. And of course, my favorite turret drone build will be in the top title card right now since we have Empress at West End. That's 3-piece Empress, 2 Honda U in the Waveform holster. And then of course kinetic momentum on the chest piece, force multiplier backpack with perfect combined arms, and I run the capacitor as my primary and the harmony as my secondary. Also, keep in mind there's 2 named items from Empress. That is a Caesar's Guard chest piece with perfectly skilled, and then the battery pack with perfectly calculated. Both of those are not Dark Zone exclusive, you could just straight up farm for them. And really that's all I recommend for the west side. Let's go check out now what we got on the east side, guys. East side targeted loot highlights, starting off with the gear sets, guys. So first off, we got Rigor at East Mall area. So this is great for instant skill cooldowns. When you cancel or destroy a skill, it just instantly gives you a cooldown. And it gives you a big skill damage buff. I feel like it's 20%, but it's probably a lot more than that. And if you wear the chest piece, it gives you even more than that. So I highly recommend it for a turret and drone build and several other skill builds, as long as it's a deployable skill or a turret and drone where you can change targets. And of course, we got True Patriot at Federal Triangle. I always put my True Patriot SMG build in the top title card and bottom left overlay. And that of course is 4 pieces of True Patriot, the Memento backpack, and a Sokolov chest with Intimidate, running the Lady Death, and the mop with 10% armor on kill with close and personal rolled onto it. Or if you want, if you want to use the Chameleon or an AR, you can swap the Sokolov chest piece out for a Fenris chest piece with Intimidate and run the Chameleon or your AR of choice. For normal targeted loot, let's start off with Golong Gear at Air and Space. You can farm the Anarchist Cookbook with Perfect Wicked. That's going to give you 18% weapon damage for 27 seconds after applying a status effect. This is mandatory on an ongoing directed bleed damage build, so I highly recommend you get one for sure. We also got chest pieces at Jefferson Plaza. It's a True Sons mission, so if you're looking for the tardigrade, you get an extra 3% drop rate chance at this mission today. And then of course the Ridgeway's Pride is the other exotic chest, but you need to complete the project given to you at the summit first before you can even do that. So always let your teammates know what you're farming for and vice versa, so if they're able to share it with you or vice versa, that's always good. And then we got Providence Defense at Capitol Building Stronghold. You can run this on Legendary to get the best rolls possible for any piece that you're looking for, especially if you're looking for the Sacrifice or Perfect Glass Cannon, which is going to amplify all damage you deal by 30%, but all incoming damage is amplified to you by 60%. So you're going to shred like paper super fast and squishy, but you're also going to shred enemies incredibly fast as well. It's a huge risk reward factor. And honestly, I never use it. I use Intimidate and Obliterate. Next up are all the holdings at Viewpoint Museum. So if you're looking for, a good headshot damage build, you at least want a couple pieces of this, and you always want to roll weapon damage, weapon handling, and headshot damage on it, and get that headshot damage above 200%, and just kind of ignore crit chance and crit damage, unless, the weapon handling's too high, then you could spec and do it if you need to. And then of course we got holsters at Judiciary Square. So you got 3 exotics, the Waveform, which you get at Season 4 level 90, and the Imperial Dynasty holster, and the Dodge City holster. The Waveform is great for turret and drone builds, just alternating 30% skill damage every 10 or 15 seconds. And then of course the Imperial Dynasty is great for setting everything on fire, like status effect skill damage builds like my Eclipse Protocol build. And then of course the Dodge City holster is great for headshot damage builds and pistol builds as well. And the last few I'll mention is Petrov at District Union Arena. You can farm the Contractor's Gloves with 8% damage to armor, which is perfect for any LMG build or if you're stacking damage to armor. And you could do that by running the Lady Death or any assault rifle, as well as using a couple pieces of Walker Harrison Co. as well. And then of course lastly we got gloves at Downtown East area. I don't see any Black Tusk here really, but that doesn't really matter. If you're looking for the BTSU data gloves, you could farm that today at Downtown East. That's going to grant you and your allies at skill tier 6 overcharge, so it's definitely worth it for skill healing builds and skill damage builds as well. But that about wraps it up for the DC area. Let's go check out what we got in New York City last. Alright, Agents New York City target loot highlights, starting off with the gear sets. You know, we got Future Initiative at Wall Street, so just like Foundry Bulwark, the chest and backpack are Iron Horse raid exclusive on normal difficulty. But of course, I always recommend an Alp Summit chest piece with Empathetic Resolve and a Safeguard talent on any backpack like Murakami, Richter and Kaiser, or another Alp Summit piece. That's a great non-raid exclusive healer build. And speaking of Murakami, we got a Financial District if you need to farm for it, and I also prefer this on a Memento turret and drone build or any turret and drone build as well. And then we got of course Mass at Battery Park, so of course you could farm for 2 exotics, the Coyote's Mask and the Vile Mask. The Coyote's Mask is great for DPS builds, and if you're, you know, in a team of 2, 3, or 4, just one person needs to be wearing it to get the crit hit chance and crit hit damage bonuses from it from Pack Instincts. And then of course with the Vile Mask, it's really great for that debuff, and you can use the Demolitionist specialization to increase the damage of that debuff from the Vile Mask as well. And then we got Hunter's Fury at Pathway Park area. I'll put my favorite Hunter's Fury build in the top title card and bottom left overlay now. And that of course is 4 pieces of Hunter's Fury, and then the Memento backpack and the Death Grip gloves with 10% armor on kill, and you want to run the Dark Winter and the Scorpio with that. And I have an alternative build with a little bit more damage to it, but I'm still going to be running the same weaponry. This one is 4-piece Hunter's Fury, Memento backpack, and then you can use the Sokolov chest piece with my favorite Obliterate, or you could use Intimidate if you want for that 30 or 35% amplified damage. And I always run 3 blue cores, 4 red cores, and a skill tier from the Memento backpack on these Hunter's Fury builds. You don't want to just spec it all into red. And then we got Badger Tough over here at the Tombs. You can find the 0F's chest piece with Perfect Unbreakable, which is going to repair 100% of your armor when it's broken, and the cooldown is only 55 seconds. And keep in mind, you could purchase that at the White House vendor, so if the rolls are good enough for you, then you could just buy it there. And the last 3 we got is Negotiator's Dilemma at Civic Center, so if I have enough cards, I'll put my double LMG build in the top right. Otherwise, in the bottom left overlay, it's the 4-piece Negotiator's Dilemma, the Coyote's Mask, Grupo Sombro gloves, or Contractor's gloves. It just depends if you're running ARs or SMGs, run the Grupo Sombro gloves, or Contractor's gloves, or Grupo Sombro gloves if you're running the Pestilence or the Bullet King. And then last 2 is Ongoing Directive at 2 Bridges, 2 bleed damage builds. The first one is Ridgeway's Pride, 4-piece Ongoing Directive, and then the Anarchist Cookbook with Perfect Wicked. I always run the Carnage with Perfect Sadist, which you can get the DZ East vendor this week, and then of course I run the Scorpio with Septic Shock. The second one is 4 pieces of Ongoing Directive, the Vile Mask, and then of course the backpack has the Creeping Death Talon on it, and you want Badger Tough usually. And last but not least, we got Rifles of Stranded Tinker. So of course you can get the Merciless and the Diamondback. Those are the 2 exotic rifles in this game. The Merciless is going to require brace on the chest piece, some weapon handling on 3 to 6 pieces of your gear, or 3-piece striker to calm it down or turn it into a laser. And then for the Diamondback, it hits really hard. The agonizing bite's pretty good, but can get annoying sometimes. It's good in PvP and PvE, but it only has 5 rounds. Now what I do recommend is the Baker's Dozen with Perfect Lucky Shot and the Surge with Perfect Spike. Both of those are great rifles that do drop in the light zone because the Harmony with Perfect Instinct does not. And really that's all I recommend for the New York City area agents. Alright agents, well that was your daily farming guide for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, consider pressing the thumbs up and subscribe buttons below, and if not, give it a thumbs down. And always remember to check the video description and pinned comment below for links to support my channel, Shadow Gaming merchandise, my Discord server for LFG, and my Shadow Crew clan on all platforms. I'm also waiting to launch my shadowgaming.network website, which I'll announce, on the community tab in the videos pretty soon here, probably this weekend. And of course, gear and weapon spreadsheets, weekly vendor resets, and all that, but that's all going to be on my website from now on as well. And then of course, if you'd be so kind and you want to help extra support and of course exclusive perks for yourself, you can click the join button below to become a member of the Shadow Gaming channel. Either way, be sure to stay tuned for more daily Division 2 content. This is Shadow Gaming signing off. I will see you in the next video. Take care agents and have a wonderful 4-day weekend.